Hey everyone, I'm gonna quickly talk about the family's new home in The Incredibles 2, and why I think it used to be owned by the villain from the first Incredibles, Syndrome. Winston Deavor claimed that he bought the home from an eccentric billionaire that wanted to come and go without anyone seeing. Eccentric is a word meaning strange and unusual, adjectives that you could definitely use to describe Syndrome. What we know about Syndrome is that he was a genius and an inventor. Syndrome was a billionaire who got rich off selling weapons. He was rich enough to fund his own inventions like automated planes that could go underwater, killer robots that could take out an entire generation of superheroes, and so on and so on. He also created high-tech electronics that only he knew how to use. And because of that, the tech that Syndrome created was not easy to read or figure out. It would come with no safety warnings or instructions, and when used incorrectly, it would be very dangerous. In the end of the first Incredibles, when the family is battling the robot in the city, they get a hold of Syndrome's remote. When they start pushing the buttons on it, a lot of drastic things happen to the Omnidroid, like an entire claw launching off of it, or activating all the rockets on the robot, sending it flying into a building. The robot even recognized that it needed to destroy the remote, shooting it off of Syndrome's wrist, in order to take out the one thing controlling it, overall showing us that Syndrome's technology was reckless. As Dash uses the remote in the new house, the furniture starts falling through the floor and the fireplace spews out flames, bringing back the same random buttons we saw on the remote from the first Incredibles. The fact that the floor would just immediately open up by the push of a single button is very dangerous, giving us very familiar vibes to the way the robot could be controlled by the remote. Syndrome was the only one intended to be using the gadgets he created. He would only worry about making it user-friendly when he puts it on the market to make everyone super. Their new house is close to the city, but far enough away to not draw attention to the piece of property. The fact that there are multiple hidden exits to get the previous owner in and out of the house without being seen seems like it would heavily imply that a former superhero would have owned the estate. But no superheroes in the Incredibles universe have been mentioned to be billionaires, and due to the house's location and convenience of leaving, I'd say that the intent of having it close to the city was so Syndrome could keep tabs on the other superheroes, to get more information on them and track them down, to later bring them to the island and have them terminated by the robots. Speaking of the escape routes in the house, in the first Incredibles, during the scene where Bob shows up to Syndrome's island with his new suit, he enters a pod going into the headquarters, and there's a waterfall that splits open and allows the pod to go through, then closing to hide the structure on the inside. We see a design very similar to this in The Incredibles 2. When Helen is leaving on her motorcycle, she exits through a waterfall that splits into two, and closes when she leaves. This waterfall covering up the garage is also exactly like Syndrome's lava entrance from the first Incredibles, and we also see a lot more of these waterfalls in the living room of the house. So you could say waterfalls and lava flowing from the ceiling to hide structures or different rooms was Syndrome's thing. And those were a few big hints as to why I believe Syndrome used to own their new house. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. Did Syndrome own the house or not? And if you love anything sci-fi, please subscribe to support this channel. And I will see you in my next Pixar analysis.